We have an update on the quarterback situation in Provo, and it's not a good one. Jaron Hall is likely not to play this game. We had been told he was dealing with a rib injury, kept him out last week. Now, multiple sources yesterday told us that he is also dealing with a shoulder injury. We have been hearing about a shoulder injury for about a week now, but it was not something that was keeping him from playing, Jaron Hall. And now all of a sudden, this shoulder injury is starting to be talked about on a regular basis. I don't know how bad it is. I don't know what the scope of the shoulder injury is, but it looks like unless there's a miracle, Jaron Hall's not going to be available this week. And it does also look like Baylor Romney is not going to be available with this concussion. And, oh, by the way, Jacob Conover took all the ones yesterday. So it looks like it will be Jacob Conover going against Boise State on Saturday at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Jake, how do you feel about that?
It's terrifying. I think your perfect season is at huge risk to come to an end versus Boise. I think that the problem you face here is now the offense is not the. I mean, unless Conover has something that we didn't see the other night. I mean, unless truly that the week of preparation and everything really is going to make that much of a difference for him. Which I don't believe it will, but hey, maybe I'm wrong about this kid. I think I just don't think he's ready to do what, again, Jackson Dart did for SC. I don't think we're going to get that level of a performance out of Jacob Conover. What I do think we're going to see a ton of is running the football, and that does excite me. I was on Twitter yesterday talking to some people, and people seem to think that BYU hasn't played good teams, or that this offensive line hasn't really had to go up against a legit defense yet. And what I'm telling you is it doesn't really matter who they've had to go up against. All they got to do is come out and keep doing what they've been doing, which is opening gaps and getting Algier loose at the second and third level. That's what needs to happen for them to win this game. And I would hope, frankly, that Conover just doesn't turn the football over. That's all if I'm Kalani, that's all I'm asking of this kid. Hey, take care of the football. Do not turn the football over in this game. Hand it off and make the smart throw. If nothing's there, throw it away. We'll live to fight another day, because his defense isn't too bad either. So it does terrify me that both of your starting quarterbacks are not available. And I think in a time when a lot of questions are starting to be asked about the college football playoff, and is this the year that BYU as an independent finally gets there, and could this be a special year, a year to remember? Well, weeks like this are where years to remember go to die, because this is not going to be an easy game for BYU.
No, and I think it's Boise. It's never an easy game. It is a rivalry game, to be sure. I mean, it to me, that's what this game's about. But this is what college football is about. Obviously, it's less than ideal not to have your top two quarterbacks. But listen, you have a guy in Jacob Conover that was highly recruited. This is a guy now that's going to get a week of reps with the ones all week long in practice. If indeed it plays out that he winds up starting on Saturday against Boise State, I think you're going to be just fine. I think that Tyler Algier is a guy that you can hand the football to. You're going to need your depth at running back. Obviously, Algier, Pini Katoa, the offensive line is going to have to do a deal. You're going to have to play BYU football. This defense, I'm more worried about the back end of the BYU defense than I am about the quarterbacks, frankly, because you don't accidentally do what Jacob Conover did in his, high school career and then just do nothing in college. It's very rare. Jacob Conover can throw the football. He is a good football player. And to me, we're going to see what he's all about against Boise State. Now, having said that, I think the bigger issue is Harris LaChance. I mean, this is a guy, this injury to me, this is the one that you should be worried about, because there's very little information about him right now. There is not a whole lot being said. He is not practicing. They are still trying to treat this foot lower leg injury thing, and they need him on that offensive line. I think MP is going to be fine this week. The LaChance injury is the one I'm really nervous about, because if he's not ready to go, that's a huge loss. Until he's back on that offensive line, you're not as good as you can be up front. And especially when you want to talk about a young quarterback, a kid that's coming in and making his first start in Jacob Conover, you need your best offensive line in place. And without LaChance out there, you don't have that. And that, to me, is what you should really be worried about. That's the one injury where I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. Well, because you can't compensate the quarterback position. You're not able to say, okay, well, Baylor's back there, so
Yeah.
we'll just sling it all over the field, and it really won't be a problem. We can kind of scheme with the offensive play calls that we're putting in to get the ball out quickly. But again, that's why I say this is. I'm not saying that this BYU team solely relied on Jaron and Baylor to win games. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that when you have a dual threat guy back there, or when you have a guy that can just flat out bomb it down the field, that is a dynamic that you can't teach. And so, yes, I know that Conover was highly recruited, and he's a guy that it's no secret that he can throw the football as well. But there's a difference between being a recruit who can throw it and being a guy who's on the field with the ones doing the job. And to me, that's what I'm curious about. Like the first 3 possessions that he's out there, is the first possession a 3 and out and he looks awful? Or is the first possession a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 play drive and it finishes in a field goal or something like that? How does this game get going? What is BYU's plan to get him into the game? Because that's definitely going to be a thing. I mean, you got to get Conover loose and relaxed into this game,
Well,
and I think that guys like Isaac Rex and the Nakua brothers need to get involved early.
but I also think you need to be committed to running the football heavy and hard during the first. I would probably say if you're going to script your first 15 plays,
Yeah,
probably 8 or 9 of those need to be runs. And the passing plays need to be comfortable, establishing throws for Conover. That's how I would go about it. And that would be my guess. I don't worry until if he comes out and looks the same way he did against Utah State, okay, I'm going to be worried. But you can't tell me that's going to happen when you have an entire week to prepare.
yeah,
And you're not the number 3 guy, you're the number 1 guy. You're taking all the first team reps. You're running, you're preparing based on a game plan of what Boise State's going to do to you. I just don't have that much concern about Jacob Conover.
yeah.
Maybe it's because I know him from his high school days. We actually, I don't know if you remember this, we had him on our show in Arizona when he committed.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a sharp kid. I don't worry as much as most people are worried about it. I'm comfortable against Boise State with Jacob Conover out there.
I hope you're right. I'm not trying to be the doomsday guy here. I'm just nervous about it.
So go ahead, be the doomsday guy.
I've already been being the doomsday guy. I just don't. We can all agree that Conover is unproven at the college level. At a minimum, we can agree with that. And so, yes, this is a huge opportunity for him. There's no doubt about it. I mean, how dynamic of a team do you have if both of your starters, both of your main studs at quarterback get hurt, and you just got another guy coming off the bench? I mean, if that's not the epitome of, your 2 and 3 deep being really good at BYU, I don't know what is. So I hope for this program that he can live up to it, because the fact is he's just got to go week by week here. You're not asking Conover to take over for the rest of the season. This isn't the Charlie Brewer quit on our program situation. You've had some injuries here, and you need this guy to come in and be the Band-Aid that carries you through till Baylor. Basically that's what you're looking for. So to me, I just think this game plan is, offensively at least, is going to be, I agree with you, early they're going to run the ball a lot, but I really do think that Isaac Rex is going to be a key part of this game. He needs to be able to get open in that 8 to 10 yard intermediate route, and he needs to be open reliably. He needs to be the escape valve for when, there's nothing open down the field.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think we've talked about this, for the first month of the season. I think Isaac Rex has to be a critical part of every game plan that they have. I think he's just such a talented player that makes such a significant difference to this football team.
Yeah.
When he's getting the football. And I think when you run the ball as much as they do, and when you have the wide receiver talent that BYU has right now, Brigham. When you run the kind of offense they run, sometimes the tight end gets lost in the wash. But when you have a guy like Rex out there, I think you need to make sure that he does not. But I'm not at all worried about the quarterback position. I still maintain offensive line and secondary play are going to determine BYU's fate. I just think that's That's the reality of it. Let's get some of your thoughts in here because there's a lot of people commenting. How sure are you? Because I was told that Jaren Hall was ready to go. Well, I can only tell you, I'm talking to people at BYU that have, and if you look back, we told you last week that Baylor Romney was going to get the start.
You also said LaChance wasn't going to play.
Yeah, we've been pretty spot on with the information that we've been giving you. And I'm pretty confident it's going to take a miracle for Baylor Romney to be available. And if Jaren Hall has ribs and now a shoulder, two people, told me yesterday, frankly, that Jaren Hall is weeks away from being 100%. Weeks from being 100%.
But the question really is, like, could he suit up in a backup role? Could he be? Because my question is, okay, what happens if Conover gets hurt? Now what? Now where are you going?
Well, you're going to play a true freshman. That's what you're doing.
I guess. I don't know. Like, I know he's sitting there, but my question is, okay, yeah, Jaren's weeks away from being 100%, but is he weeks away from being able to come in and play a quarter when your quarterback gets hurt in the third quarter? Or can he hold you over for 5 minutes? That's what I'm just curious about, like how bad this is for Jaren, because first it was the ribs. And I was like, okay, yeah, he took a pretty big hit. That's not really surprising. Maybe he's got bruised ribs. He's just not feeling it. But then you hear about this shoulder thing, and that's what I'm really curious about. Certainly he doesn't have like a separated shoulder or anything, but like what is it, dude?
I don't know. When BYU plays everything very close to the vest to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just happen to have relationships in place that I've had for a long time since I worked here previously. And usually when there is a refusal to talk about a certain player, or, the answer is, like with Harris LaChance, the thing that really bothers you is that you have a situation where you're getting, well, I don't, there's nothing new on that. Or, he's working to get back. That's when it's like, okay, this is a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Because like with Jaren Hall last week, I got pretty good detail on that he didn't have full range of motion. The ribs are still discomfort. There's still discomfort there for him. Hey, by the way, he's also kind of battling a little thing with his shoulder. Well, okay, well then let me go ask this other guy I know who says, well, you know what, actually the shoulder thing's bigger than the rib thing right now. The rib thing's fine. The shoulder is the reason he didn't play last week. And so while there are differing opinions on what that is, there's no differing opinion that, hey, this is a shoulder thing for Jaren Hall. And as a quarterback, I don't know if you know this or not, but your shoulders are pretty important.
Yeah.
So my feeling is that this is a bigger situation than we know and that we're aware of.
Mm-hmm.
That's what worries me. Baylor Romney should be good to go against Baylor, is what I would guess.
God, I hope so.
Because that concussion was described as best case scenario, which it's a whiplash concussion, which is he fell backwards and hit his head. So it wasn't helmet to helmet. It wasn't a massive collision. Thankfully, it looks like the helmet did its job in mitigating as much as possible. But there is no good situation with a concussion.
Yeah.
There just isn't. And at this level, and especially the way Kalani and BYU operate, they're never going to take a risk with a kid's health.
Yeah.
They're just not going to do it. Let's get in. Let's see. Dak for MVP, man. He's got a real chance if he stays healthy. Totally agree with that. CJ, BYU fan CJ says, Conover for the win. Come on, young 4-star Coug, beat the ponies.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a huge opportunity for him. I mean, there is no doubting that. I mean, this is an opportunity to step into a major program that's having huge success right now and to make a name for yourself. All I'm simply saying is if you're BYU, there's a lot on the line in this game for you. You have to, obviously it goes without saying, you got to win this game. If you have any hope of getting to the college football playoff, you got to win all these games. So the path each week has been different for BYU, and especially now with the injuries, it just is a more I'm not I guess more difficult. I just think it's more unknown. That's the word I would use. It is an unknown path to victory, other than to say, okay, we got to get Algier and Katoa going. We got to make sure the offensive line is disciplined with their assignments.
Yes.
And then from there, hopefully we can get Conover into the game and feeling, comfortable and loose.
I just think it's one of these things where I worry about Jaren Hall's long-term viability as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, well, you should.
This is, yeah. I mean, you're battling multiple injuries. I just wonder if you can rely on him to be ready to go week in and week out. And I mean, I guess my overwhelming opinion is at this point you would say no, unfortunately. And, because you're dealing with a guy now who both times he's gotten a chance to start has gotten hurt. And that really concerns you. And, as far as Conover goes, as much as I said this yesterday, I don't like the Jackson Dart comparisons. Well, guess what? Jackson Dart came in and threw the ball all over the place. And now you're going to get that opportunity with Jacob Conover.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to come in, and if Jacob Conover throws for 300 yards and, dominates, which you would expect him to come in
300,
and dominate,
touchdowns,
I don't know how do you take the job from him? BYU is in a great, terrible position, right? Because you have, for all intent and purposes, you have a quarterback in Jaren Hall who's played good, not great, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a quarterback in Baylor Romney who's played great. He's come in. Now, everybody says, well, Monty, come on. It was USF, and it was your mom's cousin's, badminton team at Utah State. I mean, Jaren Hall did it against a Pac-12. Okay, well, then don't turn around and say the Pac-12 sucks, and then say Jaren Hall did it against a Pac-12, right?
Yeah.
Well, now you have a guy in Jacob Conover that's going to come in, and he's going to start the only game that matters, which is Boise State. And if he throws the ball all over the yard, I don't want to hear, well, it was Boise State. And I get it. Boise State sucks against the run. Tyler Algier should have 200 more yards. Jacob Conover on offense is going to decide how well he runs, right? Because if they can't throw the ball, Boise's going to stack the box, and all of a sudden, a team that can't stop the run becomes pretty good at stopping the run.
Yeah.
So my point is, this is a big moment in time, and it's a difficult position for Kalani Sitake to be in because they're going to have to decide which one of these quarterbacks is their best fit going forward. Because I would guess 2 of the 3 will be good to go against Baylor.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, good Lord, hopefully Jacob Conover stays healthy because I don't even want to talk about the possibilities past that. But I mean, you're looking at Romney and Conover, and if I'm Kalani Sitake, I'm going to have a hard time going back to Jaren Hall.
Yeah.
With all the injuries, and if Conover shows out, I'm probably sticking with Conover. That's just me. But I want a guy to be a quarterback, my starting quarterback for 3 years. That's what I want. And it's a tough spot for Jaren and Baylor to be in. I know that sucks, but
I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think you're taking. If you're Kalani, I don't know how you can play. No matter what Conover does, you're not playing Conover over Baylor Romney. I think Baylor has shown that he can beat any defense and do what you need him to do.
Well, I would remind you that Jacob Conover is a kid that supposedly has a hose for an arm.
Yeah, but that's my point. So we'll see. I mean, if he shows out, then it makes the conversation more difficult. But what I'm saying is we already know what Baylor can do. We already know what he can do and the effect that he has. So I think it's like, okay, if Conover rolls out with 3 or 350 and 3 touchdowns, no picks, and has that kind of game, okay, yeah, the conversation is a little more difficult. But if he's like 150, 200 yards, a touchdown and a pick, okay, that's kind of an average outing, So I think it just depends what he does.
Yeah, and I would remind you that Queen of Raps endorses Jacob Conover. Okay. He's got a national, an NIL deal with them. But don't forget, I mean, this kid is – Jacob Conover is a stud. I mean, there's no 2 ways about that. I mean, he's already served a mission. I mean, he's a mature guy. Just sitting here looking at some of his high school numbers, I think he's going to be, as a 4-star recruit, was a 90 composite at 247. I mean, everybody wanted him. I think every school in the Pac-12, Alabama, right? Ole Miss, South Carolina, everybody wanted him. The kid can throw the football. And I feel like this is the right guy for this job. And I think that if he comes out and he throws 300, 350, 3 touchdowns, doesn't turn it over, Algier runs for 2, it's over. He's your starting quarterback until he's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I don't think it's that simple. I just in reality, I don't think it's that simple for the program. I don't think that you can just say like I agree with you on Jaren. I think Jaren's probably out of the mix at this point, but I don't know how you say to Baylor, hey, yeah, you're not the starter anymore. It's Conover and that's it until he gets hurt.
I think your play does the talking.
Yeah.
Your play, Jacob Conover has, and I don't want to get carried away, but Jacob Conover has the ability to be arguably the best quarterback that BYU's ever had.
Yeah.
He has that kind of ability. And I want to say, and I'm going to read the quote exactly. But Phil Steele said, quote, I ended up going with true freshman Jacob Conover. He's not really a true freshman. He was there all last year and competed against the scout team. If you have 3 quarterbacks that are dead even heading into fall, I usually go with the youngest and most talented one. Right? Okay. He continued, I think Jacob Conover is a rare type of talent at BYU. I expect him to leave BYU as one of the best ever. This is not just another guy.
Right.
And if he comes in and throws the ball all over the yard and you win this game and you're 6-0 heading to Baylor, Jacob Conover is your starting quarterback. And that's why I say this is such a difficult moment in time for Kalani and this staff. I think it's incredibly difficult to ask Kalani Sitake and his offensive guys to choose one of these quarterbacks. It's one of the most difficult decisions that they're probably ever going to make. And if Conover comes out and balls out against Boise State, and you've got to choose between him, okay, well, I can eliminate Jaren because, well, he's injured, he's not healthy, we got to let this kid get healthy. If you got to choose between Baylor Romney and Jacob Conover, I'm going Jacob Conover simply because he's younger and he will have showed out against Boise.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm not trying to be stubborn and disagree or anything. I agree the kid's got a ton of talent, but I need to see him do it, right? I understand that Phil Steele is saying this kid is great. I understand that he was a 4-star recruit and he's got all the intangibles and the metrics and the name and everything. What I'm telling you is that I don't care about any of that. I care about what's on the field, and I want to see him go out. If this kid is truly a 4-star recruit and he's got everything going for him, cool. He should come out and he should dominate Boise. He should. And if he doesn't, then I think you've got one guy, not two. So my point just is yes, talented, great recruit, amazing job getting him into the program. Show me what you got, kid. Show me that you can do it. Show me that you can come out here after a week of preparation against a Boise team that, frankly, you should beat if you're BYU and beat them, dominate them, run them up and down the field. That's what I want to see.
Well, the thing that scares you is BYU's a 3-point favorite, which means this is a pick-up.
Yeah, they think it's going to be a really tight game. And in tight games, talent takes over. So theoretically, BYU should be fine. But I'm telling you that this is his first start at BYU. This is nervy. This is, hey, I need to get my feet under me on the field. Let's complete those first couple of passes.
Yeah.
And then let's get going.
Listen, I think that when you have the talent that BYU has, and you're playing a team like Boise, who's played one of the most difficult schedules in the country, and they're, what are they, 3-2? It's an afternoon game. It's on ABC TV. I'm fired up. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a fantastic football game. And again, if all this plays out the way we think it's going to play out, and Jacob Conover plays, and MP plays, and that defensive line seems to be back to 100%. At least 100% availability. I think BYU has a very good chance to win this game. A very good chance to win this game. And if you're 6-0, heading to David Koresh and company. David Koresh, you're going to be in good shape. All right, let's get some of the comments in here. By the way, if you're here right now, please give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate that. Liking our videos helps our channel grow, which we continue to grow exponentially.
Meteoric rise to the galaxy
of awesomeness.
Yeah.
Whatever. We currently have 2,349 subs.
I'm telling you, yesterday we were at 2,319. Now we're at 2,340. You got less than 2 weeks to get in this thing.
We're at 2,500. We now are 150 subscribers away.
Got less than 2 weeks.
We started this at 1,000 subscribers away.
No. Oh, yeah, this. I thought you meant the show. Sorry.
No, we started. Try to stay with me.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay?
Sorry.
Try
Yeah,
to stay with
sorry.
me.
My bad.
We started this Traeger Smoker giveaway at 1,500 subscribers. And we were like, hey, when we get to 2,500, we're going to give this away. Okay, that's years away. All right, cool. We're 150 away. And it's been like a month and a half. So let's go. All you have to do is subscribe to our channel. Then all you have to do is take a picture that you're subscribed, tag us on social, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show, and you have to tag us both, SLC Supercars, and you can win the Traeger Ironwood 650. And as well, we're giving away an Xbox Series S. It's 120 frame rates per second, motherfuckers. See how I bleep myself there? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're a family show. We don't.
What's up, motherfuckers?
Okay, the drops do, but I don't. Let's see. Casey Finlinson says, given a week of prep and knowing he's the number one, feel confident in Conover, especially with the talent that surrounds him. Absolutely. I have no doubt he's going to come out and just, he's going to show, man.
I hope that my gut instinct is wrong. I hope that they do great.
It usually is. CJ says, I'm honestly not worried. I think we have the people around him to make it work still. Am I the only one that's worried about this Harris LaChance thing?
Yeah, I mean, they're not talking about it, which tells you it's bad. It's really bad.
I think he's going to be out some time. The Good Finder says A-Rod is looking more like a genius all the time. Roderick's done a really nice job. With this offense. In hindsight, giving all three equal reps in fall camp looks like it was the right move for sure. I think Tyler can feed the Boise State defense. Gives up 200 yards rushing a game. They do. They're not great. Spencer Morgan says usually the backup QB looks far better stepping in mid-game than they do after a full week of prep as a number. I disagree with that. I think when you're and he's not a typical Jacob Conover's not your prototypical freshman. He's just inexperienced as a starter at the college level.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to do fine. I think with a week of, you're not planning on playing. I mean, Baylor Romney's been pretty durable. You're not planning on playing. Like it is, you come into the middle of a game plan. And by the way, he did fine. There were a lot of people who were like, oh, he couldn't throw the ball. I disagree. He couldn't throw the ball. Why would you not run the ball with Algier doing what he was doing? I mean, I think he was fine.
I understand where those people are coming from. Like it wasn't a thing where there's a difference coming in the middle of a game. There's a difference between coming in and just being able to sling it all over the place, and that's, what won you the game, versus, not really passing too much and just kind of handing it off. Now, they were ahead. It makes sense to hand it off. I completely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also agree with the idea that he didn't look 100% confident out there, and I think that changes for him with the prep. So that's why I say I don't think it's going to be a dumpster fire. I think he's going to be fine. But I'm not looking for fine. This program doesn't need fine. This program needs a guy back there who can burn you deep. This program needs a guy back there who can throw it all over the field and make you cover the entire field. And that's what you have in Baylor Romney. And that's why I'm saying, hey, I'm not just going to write off Baylor Romney if this kid has one nice game against Boise State. Baylor's shown he can do it week in and week out. And the problem is Baylor is better than Boise State. So when you get to Baylor, assuming that they beat Boise and both of these guys are healthy, well, my instinct says that you're going with Baylor Romney, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it depends what Conover does.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
I don't understand how you can just jump on the, hey, this kid's our starter train. Like, I don't know how that works, dude.
Because it's very similar to Jackson Dart. Who are you starting? Keaton Slovis or Jackson Dart?
Bro, the difference is Keaton Slovis is not nearly as good as Jackson Dart. Conover and Romney are like equal, according to what everyone's saying this morning.
Well, but this is all assuming that Jacob Conover comes out and shows on Saturday, which I expect him to. I fully expect and maybe I have too much confidence in him. I don't know. I fully expect Jacob Conover to come out and throw the football aggressively.
And that's what I'm saying. So, like, assuming that that happens, right? Assuming that he has a good day against Boise, which theoretically he should, the difference between the SC situation and the BYU situation is Keaton Slovis is not nearly as dynamic as Jackson Dart was, you know?
Okay.
And I think that I think that Conover and Romney are pretty damn close, frankly. You know, if Conover shows he can push the ball down the field when it's needed, if he shows that he can put touch on the ball down the sidelines, if he shows that he can hit the pass in the flat in in stride for the back, you're like, all right, these two are the same guy.
Well, and again, I'm just going to say that the secondary is going to win or lose this game for BYU, because I think we all recognize that if there's one thing that Boise can do, it's throw the football. I mean, and we've seen them. They've played an incredibly difficult schedule, not to be redundant. I just it'll be interesting to see what they do. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get to the game. I'm trying to measure my words, and I shouldn't. I'm a little concerned about the secondary. That's what worries me.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't look great last week.
Utah State ran by you. Now Utah State has some smaller, quicker guys that, I thought Bonner did a nice job under incredible pressure. I thought the defensive line did a really nice job. The blitz packages, the scheme in disguise that Tuiaki brought to that game plan against Utah State, I thought was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But they were still able to get the ball out and get it down the field. That worries you a little bit. All right. R. Crane says starting Conover would be a problem only if you want to win. He's not ready, and the coaches have little confidence in him. That was clear.
I don't know about all that. I think that's a bit harsh. I
totally disagree with that.
I think what we're all agreeing on, no matter what side of the fence you're on here, is that this is a huge week for Jacob Conover.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the best opportunity that you could possibly ask for. And I think you don't have a quarterback problem yet. I think Conover needs to go and ball out, and then you've got a quarterback problem. So let's see him do it.
Listen, if you score 10 points against Boise, okay, we'll have a different conversation on Monday.
Well, if you have 10 points against Boise, he's not playing. I mean, this is Baylor Romney's job. But if he puts up 30, 35, okay, different conversation. Now we have a quarterback controversy.
I don't believe for a second that the coaching staff doesn't believe in Jacob Conover. I think that's crazy. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who just don't know who this kid is. I mean, when you've taken some time away from football to serve and you come back and you compete in camp and you're going up against Jaron and Baylor, you tend to get lost in the wash there. And I think that he is going to jog your memory a little bit with his performance against Boise State. And if he doesn't, he won't be here, period. This is the sad reality of college football is you're going to get one shot.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in this kid's position, when you're Jacob Conover in this current time with BYU on this incredible run, you're going to get one shot. And if you want to be the starting quarterback, the first game they play in the Big 12, that happens on this Saturday.
For real, though.
That's where this happens.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what's on the line for Jacob Conover.
Mm-hmm.
If he comes out and he throws the ball well, they win, they roll, he plays well the rest of the season, he's going to be your starting quarterback for the next 3 years. That's how college football works. It's happened time and time again. A year from now, Jackson Dart's going to be the starting quarterback and will have been. As soon as his knee surgery is healed and he's ready, my guess is they're going to give him every opportunity to take Keaton Slovis's job at SC. Because he's young. He can lead your club for the next 3 years. You can recruit with him. That's what you need. You need a quarterback. This is the Utah conversation we always have. The Utes don't have a quarterback that you can recruit wide receivers with, right? You want to go and win national championships? Come and play with Jackson Dart at USC. Look at Urban Meyer. He's out cheating on his wife, but on Saturdays we win football games with him as a head coach. Okay, that was probably a stretch. Anyway, the point is, look at our head coach here at USC, Kalani Sitake. He got BYU. Okay, I'll stop.
I'm a man.
Anyway, the point is, probably didn't help myself there at all. Eric C. says, how about them Aztecs finally ranked? Yeah, your Aztecs are doing well. I mean, for being, where are the Aztecs? They're in New Mexico, right? New Mexico State Aztecs. That's who you mean?
Right.
I think that, you mean Northern Arizona University, the Aztecs? He means San Diego State. I'm being a jerk. Spencer Morgan says, well, Monty is really drinking the Conover Kool-Aid. I'm chugging it. I'm not sipping it. I mean, stop it. Stop it. He's drunk on the Kool-Aid this morning. Well, and I smoke crack. Roy Wall says, like I said yesterday, Hall is fragile. Conover is a deer in the headlights. Romney needs to get healthy for Baylor. What is it that you didn't see Saturday in Jacob Conover? Well, you didn't see a guy that came out and they clearly had a leash on him, right?
Yes.
But did you see a guy that looked like a deer in headlights and was scared to be there?
I saw a guy that wasn't that it just didn't feel confident. It didn't, the throws they did make were not anything to write home about. I mean, that's what I saw. You know, like it wasn't like he came in and you're like, all right, yes, we got this guy. This guy's coming in and doing some nice things. It wasn't that they ran it a lot. Everybody expected them to run it a lot. But what I think you didn't see was, you know, the tight window throw or you know, taking a shot down the field if you had to, or like there just wasn't much there where you were like, all right, this kid's capable. And that's why I think people doubt him.
But you understand that was his first snap in 3 years.
Yeah, I get it. You asked the question. I'm answering the question. I'm not saying that he's not going to be capable come Saturday. I'm sure he'll be fine. But what I'm telling you is that you can't just assume that the kid is going to perform. And that's why I have a problem with saying, well, if he performs against Boise, it's his job. I have a serious problem with that from a team perspective because Baylor has shown you that he can do it week in and week out, and there's a high confidence level there.
But there are a couple things to consider. And if you disagree with me on this, I'm coming over the table and kicking your ass. Okay, just know that.
Okay.
They were in the lead, and they were burning clock. They were running the football. He was 5 of 9 for like 50 yards.
Whatever.
Right? Tyler Algier was having a career night. He ran for 200 yards. You know, I think he did exactly. I think Jacob Conover did exactly what the ball club needed. He didn't turn the ball over. He did not look. I don't believe he was sacked. He moved. He was mobile. They got rid of the football.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I don't know. Anyway, okay, I'll agree to disagree.